Hi everyone. I figured I'd share how I prepare for raids. I'm going to try and include everything I know of, and you can then decide for yourself how many of these things you feel are worth going for. So, raiding in Classic is generally about preparation and not so much about executing complicated boss fights flawlessly. Generally, the better prepared everyone is, the more successful the raid will be. I'll be looking over the different kind of consumables, add-ons, certain buffs and flasks which you can and or should use. Let's start out with the more healer-specific consumables. These are the Major Mana Potion, Superior Mana Potion, the Dark or Demonic Runes, the Night Dragon's Breath or Lily Roots, the Nightfin Soup, and the Runn Tuber Suprise. The Major Mana Potion is crafted by alchemists, bought off the auction house or looted randomly. The ones on the auction house usually costs about 2 gold. You need 3 Deem Froes and 2 ice caps per potion if crafted by alchemists. The Dream Foils are easy to get while doing Diremaul East jump runs. The ice cap can either be found in Winter Spring or bought from the auction house. I rarely use more than a few per Molten Core run, but that's because I have a rather large mana pool by now. If you're only in Pre-Bis or less, these will help you compensate for that. Be prepared to bring more consumables the worse your gear is. The Superior Mana Potion is something I use when I just need a little more mana, and a Major Mana Potion would be overkill. There is quite a large difference in price. The Superior goes for gold, meanwhile the Major goes for at least 2. So, bringing some of these lets you save gold. You could also use Greater Mana Potions, which can be farmed in Stratholme Undead side in the boxes, or be crafted by alchemists. They only cost 12 silver on the auction house. Superior mana pots are also crafted by alchemists using 2 sungrass and 2 blindweeds. The Dark and Demonic Runes do the same thing, sacrifice health for mana. However, the Dark Runes drops in Scholomance and can be sold on the auction house for about 3 gold. Meanwhile, the Demonic Runes are binds on pickup. The Demonic Runes can be obtained from the Satyrs in Diremaul East or from the Satyrs in Northern Felwood. The runes doesn't share cooldown with potions, which is why they are interesting. They are used for mana-intensive fights where just a mana potion is not enough. If you do Diremaul East jump runs, you can obtain both Dream Force for Major Mana Potion and Demonic Runes from the Satyr. Check description for a link to a video on how to do Diremaul East jump runs. The Night Dragon's Breath or Lily Root restores a smaller amount of health and mana. They share cooldown with runes. The Night Dragon's Breath are looted from cleansed Night Dragons in Felwood, and the Lily Root is conjured with this epic necklace. I bought mine for 20 gold, and it's kinda neat to have an unlimited supply of them. The conjured root lasts for about an hour, and the cooldown is an hour as well. As these share cooldown with dark runes or demonic runes, they aren't that useful really. But sometimes you only need a potion and a little something more, and that's where these can be handy. The Nightfin Soup is crafted by cooks using the Nightfin Snapper, or bluefish, which are fished up in lakes. They cost around 30 silver per soup. The buff, 8 mana per 5, is a handy little thing. I bring these for more healing intensive fights, such as Gar, Major Domo, and Ragnaros. Check the description for a link to my video on how you can farm different fishes, including the Nightfin Snapper. The Runn Tuber Suprise. Now, if you do Diremaul East jump runs, you will get a big bunch of Runn Tubers. Cooks can craft the plus 10 intellect food with these. I often find myself having large amounts of this food, So I usually bring it to raids and just eat whenever. It's also something I often hand out to casters for free, just to get some karma points. For more general consumables, they include the Greater Fire Protection Potion, the Greater Arcane Protection Potion, the Restorative Potions, and the Diremaul Grogs. The Fire Protection Potion is used during the Onyxia and Ragnaros encounter. Both are crafted by alchemists. The greater one costs around 6 gold and the normal one about 1.5 gold. The greater one, of course, absorbs more damage, but also costs a lot more. Note that these share cooldown with other potions, such as the Major Mana Potion. But if you die from fire damage, you can't heal regardless of how much mana you had anyways. The expensive part of Greater Fire Protection Potions are the Elemental Fires. These can be farmed in the middle of Ungura Crater with about an 8% drop rate or so from the Fire Elementals. The Greater Arcane Protection Potion is used during the Shastra encounter. It's rather cheap, about 1.5 gold per potion. That fight is not very healing intense, and you shouldn't run if things work out smoothly. And on top of that, popping one potion before the encounter is usually enough, giving you time to pop a mana potion during the actual fights. The Restorative Potion can be used on the first boss encounters of Molten Core to get rid of some nasty debuffs, which otherwise has to be dispelled and decursed. If everyone uses this, then people can focus more on healing and dealing damage instead of taking care of the debuffs. But it's not a necessity. We've never used them. Alchemists make them, and they go for about 2.5 gold on the auction house. The expensive mat is the Elemental Earth. If you clear a Diremaul North tribute run, you can get access to a vendor selling 2 grogs, one giving 15 stamina for 15 minutes and one giving 25 spirit but minus 5 intellect for 15 minutes. Let's look into some buffs now. These include the Diremaul tribute buffs, the Songflower Serenade, the Warchiefs Blessing, and the Rallying Cry of the Dragonslayer. The Diremaul tribute buffs are pretty neat. Check the link for a guide on how to do a Diremaul tribute run. You can get 3% spell crits, 200 attack power and 15 increased stamina for 2 hours. These are of course pretty strong buffs. In Fellwood, you might find a cleansed Songflower. Looting one of these will give you 5% increased crit chance with physical attacks and spells, and a plus 15 to all stats. This one lasts for an hour. If you're a herbalist, you can cleanse the corrupted Songflowers for a buff as well. The Warchiefs Blessing is given to all players in the Valley of Strength in Orgrimmar and the Crossroads in the Barrens whenever someone turns in the head of Runn Warchief to Thrall for the Onyxia attunement chain. I believe there is a cooldown on this buff. The buff gives you 15% melee haste, 300 health and 10 mana per 5. This one lasts for an hour. The Rallying Cry of the Dragonslayer gives you a 10% spell crit, 5% physical crit and 140 attack power. It's given to players within a certain area of Stormwind and Orgrimmar whenever someone turns in the head of Onyxia or Nefarian once Blackwing Lair is out. It's on a 12-hour cooldown, I believe, meaning you can only get this buff once every 12 hours. Note that you have to be at least friendly with Orgrimmar or Stormwind to receive the buff. I'm pretty sure this one lasts 2 hours. As for the flasks, the interesting one is the Flask of Distilled Wisdom. This one is expensive. It increases your mana by 2000 for 2 hours and lasts through death. It costs about 130 gold on the auction house. It might see more use when hardcore guilds rush through Blackwing Lair. As for add-ons, I highly recommend getting a click casting add-on for effective raid healing. Instead of having to first target players and then cast a heal, you can do both at once. The one I use, Healbots, also shows you all heals a player is about to receive, which helps you avoid overhealing. As for myself, I don't use all of the above, of course. I bring the protection potions, the mana potions, the food buffs, the lily root necklace, and sometimes I grab the Diremaul tribute buffs as well. Decide for yourself how much preparation you feel is sufficient, but as a healer, you should get used to spending some consumables. Just bringing mana potions and runes makes a huge difference, and it helps you top the healing meters. I hope you found this useful. Like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you believe that healer lives matter.